There's nothing more thrilling than nailing an insurance company.
And the truth shall set you free!
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Great moments are born in great opportunity.
God, is that not the best fucking intro?
God, I love it every time.
Shout out to Justin. Great job in production.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see us while the intro's playing, but we're over here mouthing the great lines, especially Liar Liar. Still my absolute favorite. All right, guys, welcome back to, what is this, the On Justice podcast now?
On Justice podcast, rebrand, shorter.
Little rebrand, you know. Not
Still with John, still with
Still
Jordan,
John, still
on
Jordan.
Justice.
Still On Justice, but a little shorter. So we're finally back. We were in Vegas. We filmed the last episode. We're kind of back in studio. Gonna kind of freestyle a little bit today. Not really much on the agenda, but we do have one kind of interesting update for us. Just kind of as the firm for those who are listening. That we are. For those of you who don't know, obviously we're Florida, Georgia. We're like the band, but we're lawyers. I actually am a licensed attorney in the U.S. Virgin Islands, right? St. Thomas, St. John's, and St. Croix. And we've kind of come into an opportunity to expand. I've been a lawyer down there 10 years, probably handled a handful of cases. But we have an opportunity to expand. Well, what does that mean? We're going to be essentially subsuming a practice there, subsuming employees, everything, and then kind of really establishing ourselves as hopefully would be the go-to lawyers for injury claims in the U.S. Virgin Islands. It's pretty exciting. So it brings.
That's an understatement. I'm jacked, man. I mean, I'm not even licensed there yet. I'm moving to get admitted, but even just having you there, pursue this opportunity for us as a firm. This is one of the most exciting things that's happened in many years for me, because when I moved to Georgia, it was partly a personal decision. It was partly a business decision for us, but it was like an unknown venture. We decided, hey, let's just go expand and we'll try and see what happens. This one was like opportunity came knocking, admittedly off the heels of something that is less than fortunate, but nevertheless, somebody had to come in and help fix this situation, i.e. acquire this practice or talk to these clients and try and help them out. And this is one of those, like, opportunity came knocking and we were ready. I mean, you specifically, you've been licensed, like you said, going on 10 years, and we've just never focused on cases there for a lot of different reasons, primarily because we weren't located there. But here we are with an existing client base, an ongoing pipeline for what seems like rock star employees who are willing to stay on and continue the journey. And I couldn't be more excited. I mean, really, this is the exact type of expansion that I think most firms would dream about. So I feel very fortunate.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, not to have like a somber moment, but it comes on the backs of there was a tragic incident involving another lawyer. He passed. So obviously, it's a tragic circumstance that, sometimes out of tragedy can be born opportunity. And so we're.
Well, let's just be real. It's more than opportunity for us. It's an opportunity for the clients to not get lost in the shuffle, right? I mean, you've got dozens of people, all with legitimate claims, all with an expectation of adequate representation. They were happy with who they had. That person's no longer available. What happens? I mean, that's a very stressful thing for the client. So I think the expedience that you've shown or demonstrated to step in, I mean, you flew down there, you took Aaron, met everybody, and started just building that bridge almost instantly. Kudos to you for doing that, because that's a sacrifice of time and energy, but I'm sure the clients already immediately feel at ease, and that's important.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I already met with clients. I probably had 5 phone calls like today since I've been back. But when I was there in person, I met with at least 5 clients, met with them, one of which I was going through interrogatories. That's how quickly I've jumped into these cases. And I think I actually signed up a client when I was there. We met with them in an auto crash case there on island. So it's, we're able to do 2 things. One is, so my familiarity with some of the procedural requirements is not as up to par as it is in Florida. So, when you think about like firms and you're expanding into a new jurisdiction, even if you may be in pro hoc or trying another case, like, one of the most important things we want to look at is like what is the procedure and what are the jury instructions? Like, those are the 2 things that I care about, because those are what if the procedure and what your jury instructions are, what you got to prove, like I feel like you can handle any any jurisdiction, any case. So that's kind of what I'm doing now, is just getting kind of a refresher, because the last case I think I litigated was maybe 2 years ago, where, ensued in a premises case.
Yeah, but you'll get proficient, and I think this is a good lesson in, like, just because there's an opportunity doesn't mean you have to say no. I think there's a lot of people who make fear-driven decisions, fear-based decisions. And what I mean is, I can't say with a high degree of confidence that another lawyer or a smaller firm that got presented this opportunity would have actually jumped in as quickly as you did on our behalf, because there's a lot of fear with that. Well, I don't know how many clients, where is it, who are the employees? I don't know. It's been a while since I touched a file down there. There's a lot of people who might turn the other way, and I think you have a healthy appetite from a risk management standpoint, as do I. And I think this is just one of those things where the risk is worth the reward, more just than monetary, but like expanding, putting roots down in another jurisdiction and giving us an opportunity to help people in a new place. So
Come on,
again,
man.
shout out to you.
We're cowboys. We've always been cowboys. I'm always going to be a cowboy. I'm like, so you're telling me I can come in there and take over practice and be established, and basically what my hopes and aspirations are to be like the lawyer there? Why would I not jump at that? I mean, an opportunity to go to a small pond, be the big fish. I mean, that to me is, can provide tremendous value. And yeah, like when I went down there, having to learn how to like open my business again, had to be licensed. I actually applied to license. They called me and said, "Oh, I know you paid for this, but we actually eliminated that requirement 7 years ago." So, I mean, well, that's a lot's changed. It's been 10 years. And so it's interesting. And yeah, just going in, the clients are excited. They had an opportunity to speak, and I'm speaking with every single one, and their clients, from some of them are all over the country, because they were either on vacation and some are locals. And so you're, but you find out what kind of like the core values of like human beings in different locations, right? Like what matters to people here in Florida is not the same as what matters necessarily to people in Georgia or, Texas or New Mexico, California, right? It's all different. And I got asked kind of an interesting question. I was meeting with a lawyer, and he was deciding whether he wanted to go with me or go with another lawyer. And he just asked me, plan out, was like, look, do you think you're a good person? Which is a weird question. Like, who am I to judge whether or not I'm an individual that's a good person? I'd like to believe that I am, but, there's some people that may disagree with that. Some people may be like, Fisher's an asshole, but that's not true. It depends on if you're my 4-year-old son. But the idea is, I said, look, I would hope to believe and say, look, I'm going to always put client's interest first. I'm going to do what's in your best interest. And I think others around me would describe myself as being a good person. So it's finding out, like, these are some of the nicest people. They care about everyone, and what does that mean? And, there's a lot of big jury verdicts, right? This is a jurisdiction. I think it was like I remember talking like, and obviously this was years ago, it's like the U.S. Virgin Islands, and there's a particular jurisdiction in like New York, in the city, they just give massive jury verdicts. And, obviously we're seeing an uptick in verdicts overall coming out of COVID. So look,
even if it's pure rumor mill or whispers, I'm excited to see the first time you try a case to see what the outcome is because of that. Lord knows we get enough adversity here in the continental United States at times with litigation issues, trial issues. So, I mean, a new jury pool, new jurists, new judges on the bench, new clients. It's a really exciting opportunity. I can't wait to get my application submitted and hopefully get admitted to the bar so I can help you. But I'm sitting here as you're talking, and I'm like, shit, maybe this was inevitable in some ways. I mean, we didn't plan for this, but that almost proves my point. When I met you, you were licensed there. That's where Jill and I went on our honeymoon, St. Thomas. Our first associate as a firm, as a partnership, was Elroy John, a native of St. Thomas. Mm-hmm. And now here we are all these years later, and like it just gets presented. So maybe it was, I don't want to say destiny, but maybe it was just in the cards. So
yeah, I think it was. I mean, it's like fortuitous, but it's I mean, it's cool. I don't know what to say. It's like cool. It's an opportunity, something new. Maybe I'm going to move and live there. And I mean, how great.
Well, let's talk about, there's no downside in my mind, but let's talk about the practical element, because a lot of our viewers are going to be other lawyers who are either working at a firm, maybe run their own firm, or aspire to do it. So there's another side of this, which is logistics, right? it's another location. It's a flight away. You're not driving over there. It's 4 new employees that we have to meet, onboard, make them feel comfortable, have them assimilate into our system, right? How we speak, our acronyms, whatever. So there's that. Not to mention the clients, right? And getting them comfortable with, generally speaking, being remote. I mean, we've got boots on the ground there, but you right now are the only lawyer who can handle cases, and you don't reside there. So even though you'll be back and forth, you've got to deal with that. So I think this is a really good lesson where it's like, my father used to have a bunch of sayings about stress, but the truth is, if you boil them all down, he would really say, just find the good stress, because you can't really avoid it in life, at least in your professional life. This is a good stress. This is a good challenge. This is a good opportunity for us, even though it's going to require a lot more work, time, energy, money, to lay out. I think this is one of those things where it's like, I'm up for the challenge, you're up for the challenge. And I think we're going to look back doing another episode 3 years from now and say, wow, like what a life-changing opportunity this was. And speaking of changing, I know we haven't talked about it yet publicly, but we're going to be doing a little rebranding for our firm. Gone will be the FR Trial Lawyers ABCD1856.com, the URL that you and I picked so many years ago, and that we've been working with. But every time, I don't know about you, every time someone's like, "What's your email?" I'm like, "That's Jordan at." Okay, you ready? Stay with me. So we're changing to yourchampions.com, which I'm pumped about. Not just because it's a shorter, more easily to understand URL and domain, but because I think it actually speaks to the people who will read it about who we are and how we view ourselves for people, being their champion, being their advocate, being able to stand up for them. So I'm very excited for that. Hopefully by the first of the year, we'll be able to do some of that rebranding too.
Yeah, and then we'll have some great Fischer commercials out there. I'm going to be.
Gotta bring those back.
Well, you got to think about, like, dude, with the champion, you can have so many different ideas, right? You can be like a knight fighting the dragon when the dragon's the evil insurance company. Like, so we went to, for those of you who don't know, we talked about we were at Trial Law University, but there's Daryl Isaacs. He's a lawyer up in Ohio, Kentucky, and he is, an individual that has done a lot of marketing, a lot of videos, actually does Super Bowl commercials. If you haven't a chance, go look it up. He's got some funny ones, and what he does, he always talks about the big insurance companies, and they call it, like, the heroes, like insurance zombies, right? And there's one where they're talking about the story, and they're like, the ship's coming in, they're like, it's insurance zombies, and the guy turns around, and they're bringing small checks, and that's his thing, and then they're literally zombies with small insurance. It's a commercial, small insurance checks, and then he comes in, and he's the hammer, and he gets some big checks, and so. I'm not probably going to go to that extent, but I think from a marketing, branding, that it works. And what he says is, kind of like in our business, the one thing you got to be mindful of is with your clients being top of mind, right? Like, you can have a client, and what he says, you can have a client you get $1 million, multi-million-dollar recovery for, and then they may have something else happen or a family member, and if you're not top of mind, they're going to go to somebody else.
Right.
And so his biggest thing is trying to stay top of mind, reaching out to your client, keeping them, if they send a case in, sending them like a video, or if it's their birthday, like a personal video, just saying, it's something.
We're in the business of helping people, but it's a
Right.
business.
Right. I mean,
I've struggled for years because there's a natural turmoil there, or conflict, because you want to help people. I mean, I'm a fucking former public defender. I got paid peanuts. It was glorified pro bono work with a little change, and I was totally happy. I just love to help people, and I still do, and we all do, and everybody we hire, that's like, filter number one to see, or screening question number one, if we can ascertain that. But at the end of the day, you're right, it's a business. And I was talking to my wife not too long ago about this kind of conflict, and she said something I was pretty enlightened by it. She basically said, yeah, it's a business. Like, at the end of the day, revenue's generated, you're trying to make profit. But when people get hurt, or God forbid somebody's killed, they need a lawyer. So you're not like selling somebody a service that they don't need, right? You're offering a service to someone in need. So as long as they have that need, and as long as you're willing to fulfill it with top-notch customer service, and I think we do a really good job with that. And as long as you still feel confident that with each client, you're, reasonably speaking, in the best, or one of the best positions to deliver the best outcome for them, then you're doing them a service too. And so this gets back to your point, like touching base with clients after you've closed the case. Clients, the file's closed, the checks have been cut, and hopefully the client's satisfied. But it's like, you're right. These people may know somebody who, just like them, just like they were, they're going to need a lawyer.
Right.
And it's no longer about, I used to look at it through the lens of like, it's like tacky, it's cheesy. Like, I don't want to perpetuate or do anything to even suggest that we're even close to an ambulance chaser type, because we're really not.
We're not.
The people who really spend time with us and learn how we practice would know that about us. If you want to judge us on the surface, I can't help you. But to your point, if we stay top of mind with former clients, they're going to always remember, oh shit, these guys were great. Keel was great. Or that whole team is fucking great. So the next time they hear somebody's in need, they're going to broker their services to us, hopefully, and we can do the same. We can make the same positive impact in their life. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, and you know what? It's interesting is that not every client's like the definition of success for individuals can mean so many different things, right? And I think the same is true for clients. Some clients, if they want a fast resolution, right? And if you get something done for them quickly, they're like, wow, that was amazing. Right. Some other ones are like, look, they're in it for not just expedience, but they want to see like a large recovery. You get that from them. They're like, wow, that's amazing. And some people just want to have somebody to hear them. Right. Yep. Like the idea of lawyers is like, and I even tell this people sometimes, is like, I think we forget, like, even though we are agents of the client, it's a service position. Like you work in service of them, and I think some lawyers tend to forget that. And it's like, that's why you hear that, I can't speak to my lawyer, or I'm just in a box, because they're just like, look,
I think it's the law firms that commoditize clients and treat them just like a number. And I don't give a fuck. The truth is, that's how many, I'll just say many, or at least other firms that I've heard operate. And I can't change that. I don't even need to change that. I think it's unfortunate, but I can't change that. That's not my mission. But to your point, as long as our clients know that we're serving their needs, that's our priority. I mean, dude, how many former clients do we still talk to? I mean, the reality is I speak to one or two on a regular basis. Sometimes I'm like, when the hell is that case over with? When I hang up the phone, because it's like talking to a friend. I mean, you build relationships with people. They share intimate details of their life. You've seen how their life has changed before and after. What are you supposed to do? Just lay that aside and forget about them because the case is over? I have a heart. I'm a human. So, it's not going to be the case with every client. Some people, it is more transactional for them. They've been hurt. They expect you to deliver for them. And once you do, they're done. And that's fine. There's no problem with that either. But the point is, I think, being open and receptive and keeping that relationship going even beyond the close of their case, not just because they may present another business opportunity, but that's the right thing to do in a lot of cases, right? I mean, we don't need to name names, and we shouldn't, but there are former clients I know that you still reach out to, and their lives have been substantially improved. Maybe they don't have to work anymore, right? They're retired. And even if it's just a quick touch point, it's really nice for them to know that you still care.
Yeah, man, we do. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I try to, I mean, that's why, when we have cases where we have lost, excuse me, we have had like a gut-wrenching experience because of how much we are invested in, not in the winning, right? Because I love to win, but I'm invested in the client. And so when the client doesn't get a good result, that's what hurts me the most. It's like they had to go through this whole experience. They had to be judged. They had to be questioned. They had to be interrogated. They had to be, looked down upon for bringing a claim. And then it's like to go through all that and not be successful. Sometimes it's like you feel like it was like a disservice to them. But at the end of the day, if they weren't offering money and weren't paying money, you're really doing a good service. So it's, it's difficult.
I think we can do service, like something that is perhaps underappreciated. I don't know, because I haven't worked in every firm in Florida and Georgia, but I get the sense that prospective clients, before they decide which law firm to hire, a lot of them come in with preconceived notions, not all good, right? And there's some legitimacy to that. But when they finally make their decision, oftentimes it's based on that human connection that they feel like that this person, the lawyer, the law firm, they actually care. They're not just selling. They're not just giving a line of bullshit. They're not over promising. Nobody wants to feel that way. Nobody wants to feel sold. Everybody's had that experience, whether it's a door-to-door or telemarketer. Nobody wants to feel sold. I don't care who you are. So I'm really proud because you and I, for years, have taken pride in when a prospective new client reaches out and they're willing to spend the time with us, we're willing to spend the time with them. If it's a phone call, a Zoom, multiple emails, multiple calls, whatever it is. And we've always done that. And I'm grateful that our team is so customer service oriented that they're like that. But we just got our first 5-star Google review the other day from someone who hasn't even signed up as a client yet, unsolicited, unprovoked. And I did one Zoom meeting on Saturday night for about 2 hours. Didn't plan for it to be that long, but it was a good conversation and I wanted to make sure other questions were answered. We've had about 5 or 6 other phone calls and maybe, I'm not even exaggerating, a dozen emails exchanged, all really meaningful. I mean, these are smart prospective clients. They know a lot of the law. They have questions on. I want to answer that. I'm doing all this. I mean, I hope they hire me. I expect them to hire me based on our conversations. But even if they didn't, I don't feel like I've lost anything. I feel like I've helped guide them in a way. And then here they are. They leave me a 5-star review. And that just makes me feel like, okay, we're doing this thing right. Because I don't know what's going to happen in the case, but I know that if I'm leaving them with that impression up front, then I'm doing one little thing to maybe change the mind of people. Because you know how people are. We do trials. And we've talked about this, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but every fucking juror we talk to, I feel like he's like, oh my God, a personal injury lawyer? This is a personal injury case? I can't do it. The TV ads, the billboards, the ambulance chasing. And you know what? We're never going to convince them all. And I've given up trying to do that. But if we can just convince a few along the way, I think we've done a good thing.
Don't be so hard on Lake County like that. Don't be so hard on them.
More than that, and you know it, like I know it.
I think it depends on your jurisdiction. I mean, a lot of people, I even talking to a client today, potential client, obviously USVI from Kentucky was, he's like, look, I even had reservations about filing a lawsuit, like, because it's just, I'm not that kind of person. And so,
right.
And what his thought was, he said something that I thought was very, what's the word I'm looking for? Not insightful, but maybe it's insightful. But he's like, look, I felt that if I didn't do something, nothing would get fixed and the next person could be hurt. And I was like, that's exactly right. Like, personal injury lawyers effectuate change and make the world safer for everyone. And the client got it, like that's the reason why he filed the lawsuit. So it was a good conversation. And just,
I have a client right now that we just signed up this week that one of their, if not, it might be their primary motivation, because something terrible happened and a family member's passed on and they're not coming back. So money's not going to fix it. And maybe that's part of the motivating reason why their objective is a little different than the ordinary case. But the reality is they're very clear. They want to go after this bad actor company and get an outcome, a public judgment that will disincentivize them from doing something like this in the future. Like, sure, maybe they get a settlement that, Joe Freed, we had him on. We talk about building in non-monetary terms for change in trucking cases. But I mean, that's their mission here is to make recovery, but primarily for the reason that it'll hurt this company financially enough that they'll start making changes to avoid having something like this happen again. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you want to hear. I mean, that's what you want to see is like everybody's saying like, let's make a difference. Let's do the right thing and make a difference. And if you come up short, hey, you took a shot, I talk about, that's not the kind of regret you'll have if you're able to do those things and take a shot versus someone like not trying at all,
Well, and I think this, if there's a theme to what we're talking about, it's like being service oriented and for the right reasons. So like anecdotally, I had a site inspection in a Georgia premises liability case. So, just generally speaking, because it's a pretty common thing, unfortunately, that happens. People book an Airbnb or a VRBO, they're on vacation, usually not in the place where they're from, and something happens. A deck breaks, they slip down the stairs, whatever, doesn't matter. Something happens where they get hurt on the premises of the property that they're renting. So it's a pretty common type of case. So in one of those cases, we're in litigation. I need to do a site inspection. Well, the defendants, which include the then owners of the property, they sold it. So they don't have the property, right? So now I've got to go bother this husband and wife, two physicians who've got 10,000 better things to do, but they bought the property. They now own it. I need to inspect the particular area where the incident happened, and it's in their control. So I send the notice out. I serve them with a subpoena. I'm already imagining in my mind's eye how fucking infuriated these people are. Oh my God, to be inconvenienced. And it's a vacation house for them. They live in Atlanta. This is like an hour away. Anyway, so we set it up. Our expert flies in from out of state. I drive in, we meet, and I'm just sitting there in the driveway. I'll be like, man, as soon as these homeowners show up, I already know they're going to be pissed. Anyway, the husband shows up. He's a physician in the Atlanta area, nice as could be, totally understanding. We get to talking anyway. The whole inspection may have taken an hour. We chewed the fat the whole time. Turns out we both spent time in New York because I'm from there, and there was a dozen other similarities. And here I am making this inroad with him. Here's the deal: at the end of the conversation, he asked for my cell phone. We exchanged information, and he was just like, "What a really nice experience." And here I was going into it already thinking he's going to think I'm an asshole, I'm an ambulance chaser, I'm annoying, whatever. And he came out of that himself feeling a bit enlightened and being like, wow, this is a good person, and they're not in this for the wrong reasons, even though we didn't even really talk about the case. We just talked about the law in general, medicine in general, the kind of introduction of private finance and corporate control over physicians and whether or not that's going to happen in the law. And we talked about how, like, fortunately, there's only a handful of states where law practice is privatized. But anyway, the point is, I feel like I left there and he left there feeling like, you know what, these personal injury lawyers, they're not all bad. And for me, that made me feel good, because the last thing I want to do is have this guy feel like, yep, he fulfills the stereotype, some slick talking, ambulance chasing, inconvenient, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't that way. So that was nice.
Yeah, the tort reform didn't get to him, and that's good.
No, but he sees, this is the thing, is like, he's not a layperson in the average sense, because his colleagues, and I don't know about him, I didn't ask, it wasn't my business, but like, he's in a profession where lawsuits get filed all the time. Medical negligence is a pretty damn common tort, right? So it's not like he's blind to it. There's a lot of people that live their lives, and hopefully, they never get involved with the court system or litigation or claims at all. But there are some professions that are just, construction workers, physicians, nursing, etc. You're likely going to deal with it. So, I just assumed he would come into it harboring a lot of resentment. And it was the complete opposite.
That's good.
Complete opposite. There was just more understanding than I expected. So that was refreshing. It was nice.
Yeah,
and by the way,
people in Georgia
talking about
are nice. They're nice up there, though. They're nice up there in Georgia, man.
Yeah, but he's not even from, well, whatever. You're right. And I mean, people in Georgia are great. I love it here, but I guess what I'm saying is, I don't think that situation, I just didn't expect it would happen anywhere, but it did.
Yeah.
But since I'm talking about a site inspection, let me talk about substantive law stuff. If you're not doing site inspections in your premises liability cases, you're cutting off both legs, bottom line. I don't give a shit if it's a slip and fall in a Publix or at a VRBO or Airbnb property or wherever. Rare is going to be the case where it's a premises liability, slip, trip, and fall, or something falls off a shelf, where even if your client was attacked or beat up. Get out there, put boots on the ground, go see it. Because let me just tell you, this most recent example, and this is not the only one, it's just the most recent one. But when you go out there, so this is a case about a staircase, basically, a fall down stairs. And you or my client or defense counsel or an expert or some independent witness, you could describe to me in words 1,000 different ways, whether you think it's safe or not, steep or not, slick or not, whatever. And that would leave an impression on me. I could see photographs, even with fucking measuring sticks, and that would add some context. But when you go out and you see it and walk it yourself or whatever, fit the context in, it's a game changer. Now you can immediately transport yourself into trial, and you know exactly how you should describe it. And frankly, with this particular condition, I'm now inclined, only because I saw it, to say I might need to do a site inspection with the jurors, because pictures and words won't do this condition justice. And so to the practitioners out there, believe me, I know the stress, especially those that deal with litigation, hearings, depositions, client meetings, whatever. You're busy. I get it, really busy, but prioritize these site inspections, especially in those cases where you want to get a good outcome. Because even if you don't try the case, if you've been there and defense counsel or the insurer hasn't, you have an advantage over them. And so I would encourage everybody to do that, because every state that I'm aware of has some procedural mechanism to allow it. So
yeah, you always learn good things and see different things, and how better way to describe, in a slip and fall case, you can see all the things that are distracting an individual while you're there,
right,
to better understand it, and to describe it to the jury if you've got that personal experience as well. So, I think it's very effective.
And by the way, if the defendant still has access to the property, they might they might make it more difficult than you think. Remember Home Depot years ago? We'll give you a site inspection, but we don't want to inconvenience our customers. So it's got to be at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
or whatever it was. I think they thought for sure, go fuck yourself. We're going to court. I was like, great. I'll see you tomorrow morning. And the lawyer's like, wait, what? And I showed up. I drove up there. It was like a 3-hour drive. Drove up and did it. Anyway, to your larger point, which is like, even in those cases, walk the steps that your client walked, see what they saw, so that way you don't have to rely exclusively on them. Because the truth is, not everybody's a good historian, and not because like they have faulty memory, but like not everybody's vocabulary is the same. People don't process images the same. People don't process memories the same. We see this all the time in depositions or when we're trying to, aid in the preparation of filling out interrogatories. But like, if you've actually been there, you now no longer need to defer exclusively to somebody else because you've been there. You have that life experience. And I feel like jurors pick up on that. Or even if they don't, they can discern a difference between like us when we're arguing about a case or giving an opening statement, right? And you're being descriptive about it, versus the other side who may be a little bit canned and stilted and just talking generically. I'm sure jurors would pick up on it. I would,
Yeah, jurors are smart. But back to the point about Jordan being a cowboy. You know, 1 a.m., like literally, like they're like, you got to do it at 4 o'clock. All right, cool, fine, tomorrow morning. And literally, he drove up, and I remember the attorney was like, surprised, like, Jordan, no, I'll call your bluff. You want to do it at 4 a.m.? I'll be there at 4 a.m. And made people do it. We didn't expect any. And they FaceTime our expert. Our expert was like, I'm up.
Yep.
So our expert was available at 4 o'clock or 4:30 in the morning, and we did the inspection.
Shout out to Jerry Birnbach if you've got like retail store type premises cases. He's solid. He's out in New York, a lot of experience, and I think he brings a really dedicated approach to the task. So free shout out there.
Yeah, and he's primarily for like a lot of the big box stores and defense cases. So
right,
so he knows the inside and out on both sides, and so you get him in there. You're swinging. You're already ahead of the curve. So,
all right. Well, I'm kind of tapped out. I know we've got a ton of work to do, and we got the holidays coming up, so maybe we'll squeeze one more in before Thanksgiving. But if not, everybody out there.
Wait. Before we leave, I have to know one thing right now. Do you have Christmas decorations up?
I wish I could turn my camera. My Christmas trees are up.
Dude, so is your daughter upset with you about it?
She's pissed. She went to soccer practice. So it's so funny we're recording today. Today is November 16th. Today, my wife put up all the stuff. And so my kids came home from school. Dom is excited. Oh, my God. Kendall's like, Daddy, are you serious? And I was like, hey.
So for those viewers out there, this is kind of like I'm with Kendall, right? So you still got Thanksgiving. You can't put up Christmas until Thanksgiving is done. Now, listen, the day, like Good Friday, I don't go shopping. We go out and get a tree and put it all up the next day. That's what Kendall thinks she wants to do. That's Jordan's daughter, for those who don't know. So we've had a conversation about this.
No, give me the Mariah Carey holiday CD. Let's just get it going. I mean, look, for me, it's my favorite time of the year. My wife and I share that. Why not maximize it? You know?
No, I was curious. And speaking of Mariah Carey, there was a guy, I thought it was a female, pulled up this morning, windows down, blaring Mariah Carey. I mean, as loud as could. I heard him pulling in from the parking lot, and then he pulls into Parks, and it was a guy. It's like it coming out, like just jamming to Mariah Carey as loud as can be. Surprising to me,
Gotta respect Mariah Carey. The Mariah Careys, the Whitney Houston, some of the best vocalists of our young generation here.
Yeah, I mean, Mariah Carey's octave range was ridiculous, but I like that she now knows that is the holiday song that she has fun with. There were like memes of like her coming around the corner for. We're like, we're not ready yet. I mean, that's that's where you got. But I'm I'm on team. Wait till after Thanksgiving. Jordan's on before Halloween. So for Christmas,
turkey. I mean, Thanksgiving. Look, the idea behind it, I'm all for, and we're going to do it. We're going to New York to spend some time with family.
Enjoy that yard bird. It's good, man. Get a little yard bird. You're good to go. And that jellied cranberry sauce in the can. That's my
Justin,
favorite.
can we put up a poll, because I'm addicted to pre-canned cranberry mold. I'll eat it right out of the can. I don't give a fuck.
It literally is the best. It literally is the best.
I can put one up a couple days before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we need a poll pre-Thanksgiving because I need to know where all my cranberry mold.
Yeah, like you like the pre-made like crunchy stuff in there. No. Or the jellied, smooth. You can slice it. I remember I would be stuffed and full, and I would get like 2 more pieces of cranberry
I'm
sauce.
the
Like,
same.
oh my
It's
god!
not even. Are there even calories in that? I don't even think.
I don't think there is. I think it's just is so good.
It's just red fluffy air. That's all.
All right. Well, listen, we this will probably be out before Thanksgiving. So if we don't see you before then, you guys have a great Thanksgiving holiday. Remember, what we're grateful for. I was going to say gratitude. What we're grateful for, and we're obviously grateful for all the listeners, people we have, and the opportunities we have in life to share it with you guys. So thanks for tuning
Couldn't have said
in.
it better myself.
Yeah, and we'll see you next time.
1, 2, 3, 4.
There's nothing more thrilling than nailing an insurance company.
And the truth shall set you free!
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Great moments are born in great opportunity.